Hello and welcome to another project. So, I found a Curio cabinet at Goodwill. I paid about, what, 30 bucks for it at the time. The idea for this is to make a uranium glass display that I have. And I'm also going to do some modifications to this. First things first, I want to revise the doors on this to be one big door instead of two small doors to allow better viewing of the uranium glass. And I also want to change up the bottom doors as well. I'm going to make them out of white oak since I have a lot of leftover white oak. And I do plan on putting a glass in it, so that'll be the first time I get to put glass in a piece of wood for display. We're going to see how well that works out. But overall, I'm happy with this Curio cabinet because it's deep, which is what I was looking for. So, this is uranium glass. So what uranium glass is glass made pre-1940s, and it actually has uranium in the form of an oxide. The amount of uranium is pretty low in this glass, but they added it in to give it the unique color of green, or in this case, this one's a Vaseline color. But one really cool feature about uranium glass is that under ultraviolet light, it glows, which I think is really cool, and I really enjoy green. So for me, this is pretty awesome. So that is why I want to make a curio cabinet with uranium glass, because it'd be something cool to display in a good conversation piece when people are over. All right, so first things first, we got to clean this up, and I got to remove the doors off of this. The plan is to not use these doors. I don't want them. I'm also not going to reuse the hardware for this either, because I'm going to hurt my fingers on there. Every time I want to grab these, I want to put my finger in this hole, and I want to pull. And every time I do that, it hurts. Yeah, I pinch my fingers. So I'm not doing that. Hey, one door's off. I'm going to redo the handle on that. But I don't like this decorative trim they put on there, so I'm going to pop that off. And I'll probably use like white oak strips across it to give it some character. Really don't have a plan for this. I'm just kind of going along with what I think looks good. Got most of it sanded down. I had to do a very light scuff on this. This isn't even veneer. I don't know what it is. Should have realized that when I started. So yeah, it got a very light scuff sand, just so the paint can adhere to it. Same within here. Like that's not even pushing hard, and I blew through that. But we're gonna paint this whole thing anyway. I don't feel bad about it at this point because really there's not much good wood from this. It's pretty much all particle board. No wonder it was so heavy. Even this wood here, I just think it's poplar or pine. So it'll be a good candidate just for paint at this point. I'm gonna start working on this at least. I'm not reusing the handle, so that's gonna come off. And we're gonna see if I can break it. I hope I don't break it because I don't want to make a drawer. What? Okay. How did you were already broken? Oh, that's how that works. Okay. Well, let's see what happens. I assume these are just glued on. Oops. Felt like they wanted to come off, but I guess they're glued in pretty well. It's only particle board. Yeah. I can fix it. I hope. Okay, got all the wood. So this is just regular, what I had left over from my desk build, unprocessed. And I need to plane it, and joint it, and rip it. That's the plan. I made some measurements that I needed right there. I know it's a bunch of squiggles, but it's something. And I marked the boards as well on which one's going to be what. Well, this turned out pretty well. What I'm going to do is put some dowels in between the edges and glue them up. That should give it plenty of structure for this portion, or should give it plenty of structure for this door. Made my marks on the wood for center lines, and I indexed them all so I know where they're supposed to go. Time to start making holes. Okay, everything's set up. That's my drill. There it is. Something I've learned is to always mark these. I've had them slip, and I've made them deeper than they should be. Lessons were learned. So I just use tape. There we go. This is a real nice tool. Spend the money on a nice dowing jig. You won't regret it. Everything's lined up now. And all right. those are looking pretty good. I'm happy with how they're turning out. I'm also marking the bores on which way the holes are supposed to go, so I don't mix that up, because I'm gonna probably flip it. So the door I'm making is pretty much the same size as the other door. I'm going to use the old markings it has, where I need to do a little bit of a cutout for these hinges. So I'm just going to mark them up from the old door and go that route, rather than doing a bunch of measurements. It may be the lazy way out, but I am lazy. So positioning it appropriately, I want this edge right here, since this is all not a great edge, and I'm not redoing a piece of wood, I want this to be facing pretty much the wall, the hinge portion of it. So I want this to be indexed to this side. Right there. To there. Okay, got them all taken down, and that fits nicely. I can work with that. Well, I got the glass in there. The router job didn't turn out as great as I'd like it to be, but it's on the back. No one's going to see it. And I guess the only thing I really care about is that it holds this piece of glass firmly. And I have to say, it does. Oh, look, got parts in. So these are clips that are supposed to keep the glass secure to the frame. We're going to put a lot on. Please don't break. Unfortunately, I made a mistake on this door. I was going to do a tongue and groove shaker style door, and I did not leave myself with enough wood. So on the top and bottom rails, I should have done 21 3/4 of an inch long to account for that extra groove, but I did not. So I'm going to have to do this door a little bit differently, which makes things a little bit more interesting. I still plan on doing a shaker style door, but it's not going to be with the tongue and groove now. So we'll see how I can overcome this, because I'm not wasting wood. Okay, got them routed. Turned out pretty well, drilling a hole in there and placing the wood in it worked out pretty well. At least it makes everything the same now, hopefully. Shouldn't have had to do that, but I messed up. So if everything's done right, all these gaps should line up now. And they do. That means I routed them in the appropriate direction. That I think will work out pretty well. Let me go glue those on accurately. Just got done installing the last one. So obviously need to have some stops on this, but look at that. Fits on so nicely. Gaps line up well. This is the exciting part, when it finally starts coming together. So off camera, I took the liberty of putting the last door on and put the handle on the door here to see how it would work. That looks pretty good. Also, I took the back off because I'm not going to use that part of it. So I bought a 4x4 piece of plywood, and I'm just going to tack it on the back, so when I paint it black it looks fine. And also, I hammered these, what is it, stoppers in for the glass, and they are never coming back out again, so that's going to be kind of frustrating to paint. Good to know. I'm also somewhat glad I did that now rather than after I painted, because that would probably mark up the paint. But I like the idea that these were metal and had rubber tips for the glass. There's a little gap right here, and I don't want stuff to fall off. I'm going to make a little shelf and just tack it on in the back and call it a day. Keep it simple. Okay, shelf. So made it out of 1/2-inch plywood, and I just kind of cut these two edges out of white oak, just using scraps I have. I think it'll work out good, and I'll just mount it right to the sides. So initially I was just going to get rid of that and just mount these 2 blocks on the wood and just let it rest there. It probably would be fine, but I'd rather give it a little bit of support in the middle with this, at least on the back side, so it doesn't bow. It probably will bow, but oh well. I'm just gonna glue it and tack it in place. So I'm gonna put 2 screws, pocket hole screws in there. I think that's gonna give it the best chance to hold. And I'm also gonna glue it. Not one to really glue stuff like this, but it's not coming apart anyway. It's all just gonna be painted black. Nothing fancy there. Yes, I used white oak, but that's scraps that would otherwise be thrown out. Okay, so I did some stuff off camera. One, I secured the back. So out of that piece of plywood, cut it to size, and I used just pocket hole screws to secure it. I think it's going to give it a little bit more structure with that. I made an oopsie there. There it is. Made an oopsie there. But that's fine. It's the back. No problem. And I also just added a screw here to catch both of them, just to get it close. If I have problems with that, then I'll put a washer on there to draw it in a little bit more. The front is done. Looks good. Doors work. Glass is in. So it definitely has, it's definitely black. It looks more like a charcoal color, which should be okay. think it turned out really well. I'm happy with it. I like the color combo for me. I think it looks good. Doesn't match anything in my house besides my desk. No. But I like it. Yeah. Look at that green. It looks super good. And you can see it. All the doors are closed. This is exactly what I wanted. Now it's time to acquire more.